Greetings to all of you back at the Academy. It is I, Dedusmuln, offering each of your beings a warm salutations from the Pastel Archipelago. At this moment I stand upon the soft earth of the southeastern isle, specifically in an area close to the island port from where my boat has come to dock. A kind being within the domicile has informed me that this site may in fact contain the paper cup that I've been searching all this time for. My tendrils, Rihanna, have been absolutely saturated in sunlight since my arrival, so I hope this good weather persists for my digging tomorrow. In addition to the sun, the air scent here is thick with the salt of the bay, I tell you. It simply engulfs my epidermic flesh, sort of like a far-out poncho. Unfamiliar, yet protective. Well, I can faintly hear the waves splashing farther off from here, but I suppose that was an unnecessary detail, considering this recording is also picking up the sound. Right. Also, I've taken the liberty of pitching my tent in this potential archaeological site, since I detect no vibrations near me that indicate any signs of wildlife or hostile individuals to pester or bludgeon me whilst I excavate. I still need to assemble my vision projector, but that work will have to wait until after dinner. Forgive me for sounding unprofessional, but I am currently feeling absolutely stoked for this mission. Never have I imagined that my first solo expedition would be one of such importance, both for the pre-accretion scholars and for myself. The hunt for the paper cup has been long, but I promise you all that I will personally end the paper debate once and for all with my findings. The power of thin viscosity will soon be upon us! Bye! Pleasant evenings to all who are listening. I have just completed the assembly of my vision projector, and, from what my tendrils could gather, it seems that nighttime is upon me. No need for any worries, though, as I am safely under my tent and will remain so until the sun has arisen. Call me superstitious, but I am a firm believer that it is from the light of our king's celestial satellite that's been the primary cause of the lunacy aggravation. Not that I am criticizing his reasoning for piloting that ray. Of course not. The most violent of anarchists do deserve punishment for everyone's protection, after all. I simply do not want to, well, risk accidentally being labeled as one whilst basking under his light, and thus I do not want its radiance encasing my body. Oh, also, if I were to give a tip to any immersion explorers operating a vision projector, it would be to insert each inner tentacle individually into the opening instead of placing them in by handfuls. It might take more time. Well, it will take more time, but it will most certainly be easier for the outer ones to waggle if the inners have more room to splice them. I have to credit my mentor Smuldunde for that trick. They made sure to teach it to me after my first attempt was unsatisfactory, to say the least. Anyhow, I must turn on the machine and fall into slumber. With great luck, I will be granted a clear replica of the paper cup's location. Good night. Hello. I just finished a day's worth of digging at this site, and my apologies if I sound out of breath. The sun's radiance really scorched my vessel today. Really, though, my tendrils are drooping heavily right now. Unfortunately, today was not a good first day of excavating. The vision erected in my mind last night gave me no clarity in my quest, for it was nothing but an empty space that my subconscious self wandered around in. No vibrations to sense, no structures to feel, no sounds to detect, nothing. Despite it all, I still decided to do some digging as soon as the sunlight returned. The ground was very pliable, so I was able to go reasonably deep into the earth, but I uncovered no paper cups nor any other pre-accretion artifacts around this site. I did find something, though. A small stack of bones. For any of you newly metamorphosized beings listening to this, these coins were the main currency used during the Age of Sages, far older than the moonbucks our collective utilizes in these present times. I know some of your beings may consider these too outdated to be worth anything, but I for one find value in these jagged old things, so I'm keeping them. Who knows? The buck economy has been experiencing some major inflation as of late, and we may need to transition back to using hard clay as currency once again. It is a fanciful idea for sure, but one can never be too careful. This site, however, is worthless, and thus I must venture on. I, of course, did not expect to immediately find the paper cup upon my arrival, and a part of me is glad that I didn't. The fun of archaeology comes just as much from the journey to the artifacts as it does from their discovery, although I do sort of dread having to lug around the weight of my tent and tools for who knows how long. I will apply some foam to this recorder's worm and then make my first journey to the Isle's city. Some assistance from the residents will be vital to my quest. Greetings once again, my fellow academics. I am aware that I have not transmitted an entry in a little over a week, but that is simply because nothing eventful has occurred following the last entry, and, truth be told, nothing notable is occurring now either. The body of my search for the paper cup has become impregnated with a chimera of hardships. By this point, I have trekked across most of the Isle's surface, and have only determined but a few suitable digging sites, all located along the thin beaches east of the city. Those computer badlands to the west are far too hostile for a humble explorer like myself to risk venturing through alone, and the ground near that mysterious tower up close by was too hard to do any digging. In case you are all wondering, I found nothing buried on those beaches. I can't tell if my vision projector is malfunctioning on me, or if its visions are apparent only to beings with eyesight. As for the city I had mentioned previously, well, it seems that I had not been sufficiently informed about how much lunacy has spread amongst the residents. Nearly all of the beings there were too mentally unsound to echo my greetings nor conduct answers to any of the questions I had for them. Even the city itself is under this confusion. Today I was told I had entered Tugharuk, the ocean city, when on an earlier visit it had been called Hamdidaranal, the chemical city. Only a scarce few were able to converse with me, mostly the indoor dwellers and shopkeepers, but even they were far too busy supervising their shops or tending to their insects to help lead me in any direction of a good digging site. I was at least able to collect supplies from them, food mainly. None was selling any worm foam though, so it looks like I would need to be more sparing with how many audio recordings I transmit, as I have but one more tube of foam left. Earlier today, I walked straight into a lone house somewhere northwest of the city. I could sense someone inside, and I wanted to talk to anyone besides the townsfolk, but I did not enter. For good reason, of course. It was because I felt the most otherworldly energy emitting from whatever was residing in that house. You all may not believe me, but I think I stumbled onto a homunculus psychic. For although their energy was fleshly, the power of it still seized me like a moon enchantment. Thankfully, the organism was snoring peacefully, so I was able to walk away without awakening their potential wrath upon my glands. Smaldunde, I know that you're most likely thinking about how your protege is going way over their head with this mission right now, but I guarantee you that I certainly am not. Yes, maybe I am a bit younger than yourself when you began your archaeological exploits, but I find that experience comes just as much from aptitude as it does age. All great explorers need to leave their mentor at some point, and considering how well I've been doing so far, I would think you'd be feeling very foolish to have fought me so hard on this decision. My supplies are sufficient, and my patience is endless. No matter how long it takes, I will return from this island with the fabled paper cup. Just you wait. So, I have come to the conclusion that this island does not in fact contain the paper cup that I have so long searched for. I have exhausted all of the possible digging sites, and each night my vision projector continues to lead me astray. And, of course, the city dwellers of whatever they're calling that place this time continue to be too incomprehensible to assist me. So, I've decided to take a boat out to the center isle. One of the few things I could gather from the residents were some local legends about the area, specifically to do with a dread knight entombed in a large shell or something. I cannot recall exactly how it went. Still, it ignites the sensation of old artifacts being plentiful there, and with luck, maybe some better shops that may actually carry some usable foam. I swear by my bones that this accursed microworm keeps desiccating every other day. Also, I do still stand by what I said in my last recording. If anything, getting these thoughts out of my glands allows me to make more rational decisions. Now, I must set off before my boat leaves for today. I will transmit another message once I make it to my destination. Take care. My apologies. I did not detect your vibrations near me.
Watch where you're going, Hylic.
Yes, of course. Wait, Hylic? Why do you call me that as if it were an insult? You yourself do not emit any energy above my own.
You better hold that half-witted mouth of yours before my claws cut your flesh into meaty chunks. Us clawmen do business with King Gibby himself, and thus by divine law he bestows on us a position higher than that of you lowly cretins. Don't you dare forget that.
Right. I understand now. I'll just go ahead and be on my way. Not bumping into you anymore. Damn bureaucrat. Why does Gibby's court seem to consist of the worst beings? First this whole lunar world order, now this false hierarchy bullshit. I swear, under his rule, soon we're gonna just become another set of extinct species to be dug up. Excuse me, please. I need to go through to board the boat.
You may not do so. The deputy of our king has relayed me their orders that this port is to be closed indefinitely. Turn around and leave at once.
What? But that doesn't make any sense. Why would Gibby want to— Ow!
You dare ignore our celestial suzerain's proper title?
My deepest apologies. What I meant to say was, why would our great King Gibby's mind toast a biscuit over the fate of this humble port? I wholly respect his wisdom, but I need to leave this isle.
I do not care what you need. Us Hylics are bound to the wills of the king, no matter how specific they may be. Move along now before I slay you.
But I... All right. That is how it must be. Huh? When did I turn this thing on? Greetings once again. I hope you will be able to hear this message clearly. This downpour keeps getting more and more intense by the hour. Ooh, I give great blessings to the power of my 10th stalwart tarp for holding strong against such a watery whomping. Anyway, it has been 2 days since my last recording, and in that time there has been a dramatic shift in my plans. The island's port has ceased to function, and the guards are all adamant about keeping it that way. Suffice to say, I am now trapped here. However, While other explorers may see this event as an impassable roadblock, I instead choose to view this as a divergent path in my archaeological venture. That proclaim I previously made about exhausting all possible digging sites on this island was really a bit of a fib. There was actually a great mountain above the city that I had been told cradles the ruins of an ancient civilization, but at the time I wisely chose not to ascend it, due to it also being the lair of the infamous cone cultists. Last night, however, whilst camping close to the city, my projector finally molded a clear vision in my mind. Two large, fallen monuments of the roughest clay texture and of very different shapes, with an X marked into the ground right between them. That is where the paper cup lies, and now nothing can stop me from venturing forth and finally holding its ancient frustum in my hands. To prepare for my dangerous journey, I acquired a dirk in case I need to defend myself. While fighting was never my purpose in this mission, those cultists are far too hostile for me to risk being without a steady battle instrument, for my gestures are not particularly strong on their own. I also went and bought some red rope sanctions to place around my tent, as I was told by the shopkeeper that even the slight sanity the cultists possess cannot prevent their fear of the color red. Both of these investments cost me a large sum of bucks, but at least I still have enough to feed myself for the next few weeks. Oh, on the subject of food, I would like to send the word that the vegetables here are truly delicious, both stupendous nourishment and a great cure-all for ailments when properly deployed. Earlier this morning, I stumbled onto a large vegetable patch close by that lone house, and decided to pick a few for myself. As soon as I felt that house dweller's vibrations, I booked it and safely got away, don't you worry. There were a lot of vegetables there. I doubt they would have noticed what I took. Goodbye. Hi, it is me, once again. At this moment, At this moment, I stand at the steps which will lead me up the mountain and straight to the ruins. I have never entered hostile territory alone before now, so I am making the wise decision to wait until nightfall before venturing up there. It is common knowledge that the cone cultists are far less active at night. Correct? Is that correct? I think I remember hearing about that from the city's expositionalists, unless I was just lucky enough to hear something lucid out of them. You know what? Let's just say yes. I am beginning my exploration at night. Wait, no! What am I saying? That's idiotic! I'd be even closer to the moon that way. Full range for Gibby to wheel his delusion rays upon me. Oh, why couldn't the paper cup not be buried anywhere else? So, as you more experienced archaeologists may have been able to tell, I was just mimicking the nervous wrestling between brain and glands that many yearling explorers do when faced with a potential danger. Those very thoughts were wriggling within me some time ago when coming up with a plan, but by getting them out of my system in the method I just demonstrated, I was totally able to come up with the foolproof plan of walking up the stairs and navigating the ruins at this exact time of day. Yes, my tendrils are coated in bright, warm sunlight, so I would imagine it'd be cumbersome for those cultists to walk around their turf under the heat and weight of their own cone heads. You see, Smaldunde? Here I employ one of the explorer strategies that you had shown me during the broader toothpick expedition. One could say I'm truly coming into my own now. Once I find a suitable location to pitch my tent, I will record another message. Take care and please wish me the best of luck. Salutations to you all. I promise all who are listening that my stammering is coming from a place of excitement. For now, I have finally reached the climax of my archaeological journey. I suppose I should start from the beginning. keep it professional. The trek across the ruins was mined with hazardous foes, as I suspected. They were not terribly hard to dodge, and I made sure to hug the wall of any structure to try and memorize path and all. Look, I can't contain it any longer. I found a real and functioning water cooler! Forgive my raw jubilancy, but this discovery serves as a zenith for evidence of the paper cup's location. I've made sure to pitch my tent and lay out the rope sanctions around it for protection, and now inside my tent I stand next to this wondrous machine. I've caressed the pedestal's sleek coat over and over just to confirm that it is indeed made of plastic. Such a strange, rare material. Its texture is as similarly alien as that of the elusive wood or iron, and to me elicited the sensation of both hollowness and sturdiness when I tapped my fingers to its surface. And then there's the dispenser that crowns it. Refrigerant liquid of such thin viscosity. Its coolness radiates even all these centuries after its formation. Even as someone who has studied these coolers for over a decade, its presence is making me tremble a little. Oh, what secrets I can unlock by placing a paper cup onto its grill and sipping its sweet elixir. I'll try to do some digging in a little while, but I can sense evening coming on and cannot risk being outside for too long. Since I've exhausted my worm foam, I'll try not to... What on earth? Something's outside the tent. Wait. Is that what I think it is? Oh my glands, I'm right! It's a television! How did I not notice such a machine while setting up camp? I suppose because it was turned off? Well, no matter. Any gesture to learn will be of great assistance in my excavation. Now, let me just... What the... What? Legs? Did it just grow like... Wait! Come back here! Come back here, you electric rapscallion. I don't want to hurt you. I just want to view your... Ah! A trespasser ignites their vessel upon our mountain government! Please stop. I mean no harm. I'm just here to... Ah!
You are but a styrofoam gastropod to our plenty. The doomsday machine doth require your sacrifice. Get off of me! Yeah! Go doomsday!
Does this thing still work? Ah, it does. The wonders of worm-powered mechanics never cease to... Oh, those cultists want me thoroughly. I tell you, if I hadn't gested a perfect panorama of that group, I would have been a wet pile of bones on their way to the afterlife. Their confusion let me escape, but as I ran, more kept popping up. I was running all over the ruins just to get away from them. It took hours for me to find this camp again. Some sound advice I'd like to give any emerging explorers is don't ever do what I just did. Why did I follow the TV out of the rope section? That was so stupid! Oh. I have a lot of dents in my flesh to smooth out, and my elbow's still leaking. They ripped up my coat, too, but maybe I could just pass it off as a rebellious fashion statement or something. Part of me wishes I'd been sent to the afterlife. I am lucky enough to be near a crystalline gateway to return for whence I died, and if everything I've been told about that place is true, then at least I could have rested on their mystic couch. I suppose my sleeping cot should suffice, but it will still take some time until my flesh is fully restored. I wish I could talk to someone right now. Someone who actually cares to be in my presence. It's so lonely here. The very earth of this isle exudes an odd feeling of sadness, as if this were a land forced to persist in sustaining life despite having nothing left to offer. Perhaps this is the reason why these ruins take up more space than the city below it. Yet, even in that little pocket of life, those city dwellers do their best to make me feel alone. Why? Why is it so hard for me to obtain any sort of companionship? And I know what you're going to say, Smuldunde. You're going to say my solitary nature is merely a fault of me being a pushover or some other offhand remark as if you truly know me. But you don't! You cannot fathom how difficult it is for me to commingle with those I don't know! It's because I'm such a narrow being. And no one gives a damn about my restricted fixations. That's what I'll always be, and I accept that! I'm too upset to think straight right now. I need to go to sleep. I'll record another message whenever I feel better. I'm sure as hell not ever going to transmit this one. Good night. Good morning to all those back at the Academy. It is I, Dedusmuln, once again here to update the current status of my archaeological exploits. The weather right now is cloudy and humid. I cannot clearly detect if any storms will be arriving today, but I do hope for a light rainfall at some point to soften up this dry earth. Still, it is not an unyielding pain to dig holes. I've already dug a cluster around the tent, despite not finding anything—
Face us, you craven stolen! Your justice passion will fail you in our chemistry!
That voice you hear is just one of those wicked cultists flexing their mandibles at me. Just ignore it. They can't cross the rope stanchion.
You suck!
At least I am not stopped by a singular color. These coneheads have been taking turns harassing me all morning. Now it will be difficult to do any excavating outside of my stanchion. I had gotten into a scuffle with a group of them sometime yesterday and had to inflict a perfect panorama on them. Not like their silly doomsday machine conspiracies didn't already make them confused. No need to worry about me, though. I made it out with but a few dents.
Innumerable fabrications!
Will you please leave me alone?
Not until thou hast given thy wretched being to our doomsday machine!
I'm not gonna die for your fictitious machine! Ugh. I'm taking this into my tent. As I was saying, since I am 100% certain of the paper cup's general location, I would imagine that my search could come to an end in roughly a week or less. All that I need to do now is keep digging where I feel is right and continue to refer to my vision projector to pin down the shape of those fallen monuments. It's situations like these that make me wish I had eyes to assist me with these puzzles. I did make a carving of the shapes on a little polymer slab I found some time ago, though. Let me pull it out of my satchel and review it briefly. There's a big hole at the bottom of my satchel. I must not have noticed it after the scuffle. There's nothing in here. No stone, no juice, no burritos, no bucks. They all fell out. I have no food or money. Everything's going to get a lot harder now. Take care and wish me luck. Greetings to anyone who may or may not be listening to this recording. It has been 2 days since I began excavating at these ruins, and I have now dug every square meter within my stanchion I had set up, barring the tent, obviously. I have found nothing. This at least informs me that the paper cup is not located in this section of the ruins, but now I am presented with the conflict of having to go about digging safely atop this cult-infested mountain. Perhaps I should try to gain the premonition of any sign of waning in their twisted gallivanting. Oh, if only I could dig at night. That would make my task remarkably easier. But of course not. Not as long as our valiant King Gibby keeps up that cruel lunar convexity with his celestial engine. Ugh. I haven't eaten anything these past 2 days. I can feel my glands cursing my very being for subjecting them to this torment. I'll find a way to sneak back down to the city and find some sustenance. The life of an artifact seeker is indeed a challenge, that I always knew. But the way I perceive it, it's these sorts of hardships that help harden one's flesh and bolden one's aptitude. I'm sure all of you at the Academy think I'm doing a wonderful job despite my circumstances, and I would like you all to know that I would indeed very much appreciate that. Alright, this obviously will not be transmitted, just a reminder for future ventures. The city's most viable trash cans are located left of the entrance and just outside the bathhouse. Perhaps I could have also checked any toilets. No! Only the absolute dregs of society feast on toilet scraps. I will not resort to that. Despite their origin, I would consider these scraps of food to be a decent haul. Let's see. 2 softening vegetables, an entire can of aspic, and a delayed hot dog. Now that I finally have some sort of sustenance, I can ignite my body for some more digging today. Important reminder for the future. Do not eat a delayed hot dog. Do not eat anything delayed. Your glands will... Oh, hang on. Today marks my first day of digging outside of the rope sanction. There is nothing buried between any of those monuments in the northwest corner, and the cone cultists continue to make things difficult for me. So, my new plan is to hike around the ruins every few hours and try to feel the shape of as many structures as possible until I find the shape of the 2 I'm looking for. Oh, right. I forgot to eat anything since this morning. Well, it's a good thing I still have this can of aspic. Good morning. I know it's a little early to be recording anything, but while dreaming I was given an important new apparition from my vision projector, and I need to catalog it before I forget. Alright, as I left my tent, there was this strange being who approached me that seemed... Something went wrong with my recorder. Let me try that again. They seemed... Woohoo! Okay, looks like I fixed this thing finally. Just needed to hold it out sideways so that the worm could rotate back into its proper position. Anyway, today was as uneventful as ever. Turns out it is pretty difficult to get a feel of a whole monument whilst being pursued by those cultists. I would have tried killing them to get them to leave me alone, but today they pursued me in too big of a swarm to give that a shot. While dying is a tempting option, a big part of me is afraid that while I'm gone for that long, they'll find a way to enter the rope sanction and steal my machine, sort of like what that school of Crassiuses almost did to us during my last expedition. I'll only perish if absolutely necessary. Oh, yeah, that vision. I still haven't recorded yet. Okay, so there was this being who approached me, and they vexed a... Oh, damn it! I forgot! Hey, guys. How's it hanging? I'm not hanging at all. In fact, I'm chillin'. Get it? I'm chilling because it's really cold up here today. Anyhow, nothing of any importance happened today, as usual. Oh, I did snap and try to kill some coneheads for their delicious meat earlier. I don't even need to go to the afterlife. I'm so hungry, I'll just eat that stuff raw. I was real close to slaying one of those cretins, but just before I could finish him off, they escaped on me. Can you believe that? Ugh, maybe their new plan is to starve me long enough until I join them or something. I don't know. And jeez, what is with this water cooler? He keeps taunting me with all that liquid I can't drink. Well, you can taunt me all you want. At least I have sentience, you dumb, inanimate bastard.
Cut this out, Dedusmuln. You sound like an idiot right now.
Anyway, I'm very hungry and thirsty right now, and I keep finding nothing on this hostile mountain. Even if I want to give up right now, I can't because the port's still closed and I cannot escape this deathly isle. I don't care if I die over and over and over again, or if something happens to my vision projector, if I never speak to anyone for the next 100 years, I will not stop until I find that paper cup. No more recordings until something important happens. Goodbye. I finally ate something today. Should I say yesterday? It had dawned on me that I still possessed that stack of bones I found over a month ago, so I snuck back into town to see if I could buy anything with them. Most shops wouldn't take them, but I kept moving around and asking until the clerk at the burrito and dynamite stand finally let me use them to purchase a frozen burrito and a juice box. She even microwaved the burrito for me. Oh, sweet. I almost forgot how good it felt for someone to help you with something. Even though my body had finally been nourished, I chose not to do any digging today. Ever since I arrived on this isle, I've done nothing but excavate, travel, or plan to excavate or travel, and I was in sore need of a mental health day to relax my vessel and reignite my being. All day I just wandered aimlessly around the city. I sat down for a while on a comfy couch and fed the scraps of my juice box to the insects, all while listening to the aimless ramblings of the residents in hopes of catching a coherent conversation. I couldn't make flesh or bone of anything they said, but I will admit their maundering musings did start to have a hypnotic effect on me, sort of like poetry, I suppose, and it allowed me to nod off for a while. Sometimes I wonder if they're all conscious and thinking, and that their lunacy merely causes them to be unable to say or act upon whatever their mind wishes for them to do. That would be a terrible fate indeed. I actually woke from my nap not too long ago. It was already nighttime when I ventured back up the mountain into my camp, and judging from the faint light my tendrils detect, the moon should be right over my head at this moment. I'm not even under my tent right now. I just want to absorb some of this wretched moonlight to see if it really does make me a lunatic. Considering what I've been through this whole time, I would say I'm already a self-made lunatic. Well, anyway, I'll try to get some good rest until this afternoon, and then I'll get back to exploring the ruins for those 2 specific monuments. I'll send my next transmission tomorrow to report on my progress. Oh, who am I kidding? This device is just an audio journal. It isn't even powerful enough to actually transmit any of these recordings anywhere. I don't know why I kept kept this little game up with myself for this long. Maybe I just want someone to listen to me so bad that I have to fool my mind into thinking that I'm actually worth listening to. Truthfully, I don't even want to be famous. I'm acutely aware of the ground I will break upon discovering and utilizing the paper cup, but even if I find this artifact, I do not want to be subjugated to the same level of notoriety as that of my mentor. As much as I do envy their talents, I can understand their exhaustion of only being held by the standards of the most significant discovery.
Smaldunde, excavator of the toothpick and rediscoverer of wood.
Forever doomed to be treated as if they were the sole sage of that artifact, unable to get away and explore the earth for their own sake.
Dedusmuln, excavator of the paper cup and first drink from the water cooler.
It is a nice title to have, but truthfully, what I really want more than any paper cup is the confirmation that I can excavate these artifacts by myself, and that I can keep doing this for the rest of my life. All I want is to be a confident, respectable archaeologist, adventuring across the great clay earth and slowly uncovering the truths of the world and beings before us. But I suppose even that is but a distant dream in this grand illusion we call a planet. I mean, I can't even do something as simple as digging at night due to living under the influence of our cruel, selfish, malignant, uncaring, unstable, unjustifiable jerk of a king!
That's right, Gibby, you cancerous snollygoster! I'm talking to you! Bend your head down from your petty little satellite up there and look at me! Look at every rude gesture I'm making with my hand here, because that's all you deserve for treating us like your playthings! For taking away our right to learn and evolve! I'm not afraid of you or your obnoxious little court of self in Borden Hylics! The only reason you hide up there in your moon is that I and the other sane ones would be able to rip the rotten glands out of your skinny little body!
Oh, wait. Who am I kidding? The real reason you're up there is because the lack of gravity is the only thing that can help
support your big, dumb head! Oh, I hate you! I hate you and I hate those coneheads for wasting their precious existence on ruining the lives of others! And I hate those guards and clawmen and all the other bureaucrats for putting their priorities and acting every single one of your awful orders instead of helping us! And I hate whoever lives in that lone house, too. I don't even know why I was so afraid of approaching them. They probably eat out of their own toilet for all I know.
This thing's about to destroy itself soon, so might as well record a final message. If I'm happy I brought anything along for this journey, it would be for this audio journal. Having something I could relay my thoughts and feelings to helped me astronomically in regards to keeping my sanity, even if it were just an inanimate portable device. It certainly helped me let all of my pent-up emotions out last night. Normally, I do find myself craving solitude from time to time, that being one of the main reasons I fought to go on this expedition alone. But even still, part of me needed something to help push me along and convince myself this entire mission was worth it. For me, that push came through in the idea that I was transmitting these messages along for my mentor and fellow artifact seekers to listen to, and that they were all eagerly awaiting my next audio entry. Probably end up dying soon, either from another period of starvation or an attack from those cultists. Maybe spending some time in the afterlife will help me reflect on what to do next, for at the moment I still feel aimless. I'm going to miss the feeling of having someone to talk to about my adventures, but alas, that is the price of having these specific interests of mine. energy. I can feel someone approaching my camp. They do not emit hostility. Hold on a moment.
We can use the paper cup with this machine.
Dedusmuln could hardly contain their enthusiasm as they guided their new companion to the great plastic pedestal that was the water cooler. This was it, the moment they had been waiting almost their entire imago life for, the harvesting of a cooler's water. Just the thought of what was about to happen made their bodies shake so much that they had to form tight fists just to keep their hands from stimming vigorously. They could not comprehend how little this fellow artifact seeker seemed to react to such a wondrous event.
Alright. So, what do I do now?
Oh, it's actually very simple. You must place the cup onto the recess in the cooler's grill and depress the small blue lever. The fluid inside the reservoir should then flow right into the paper cup.
I don't know, that sounds kind of complicated. Maybe you should do it.
Oh, me?
Dedusmuln wrung their hands together. The emergent artifact seeker wanted so badly to be the first to enact their greatest dream, yet also wanted this individual to view them as a professional in their field.
Well, you did uncover the paper cup for me, thus making you its discoverer. It's only appropriate that you should be the first to, try it out and experience the unimaginable sensation of harvesting old world liquid.
Their companion chuckled at their response, clearly picking up on their poorly disguised envy. Tendrils drooping, they once again felt the thick wave of embarrassment that always seemed to come whenever they expounded upon their interest to strangers.
Nah, man, I don't care about that. This is something you're passionate about, so you gotta be the one to sip that old liquid, or whatever.
With that, the stranger willingly gave the paper cup back to Dedusmuln, giving the back of their hand a little pat with his own pleather-gloved hand. Dedusmuln was taken aback by such a kind gesture. Perhaps in an alternate reality, where they were more composed and far less shy, they would have smiled and thanked the stranger for being so considerate of their passion. Instead, the archaeologist could only blurt out a sudden, before immediately moving up to the water cooler and carefully dispensing the ancient liquid into the paper cup. This old world water had an oddly light weight to it, much unlike the water or juices of this planet post-accretion. They paused for a moment to take in the sensation of holding the filled cup before turning back to their companion.
To the power of thin viscosity!
Dedusmuln proudly exclaimed, raising their cup as if to make a toast.
And to the discovery of many more artifacts from the old times.
They drank half of the liquid, then handed the rest off to their companion. The ancient liquid was absorbed directly into them, spreading throughout their body and filling them with a newly increased sense of will. Never before had they felt so refreshed.
Ugh, I could definitely get used to this. So, are you really gonna join up with me, or were you just exaggerating? Where I'm going, it's gonna get kind of perilous, if you catch my drift.
Well, now that I've finally found the paper cup, there's nothing left for me here.
Dedusmuln hesitated for a moment.
You, wouldn't mind if I came along, would you? I mean, as someone new to artifact seeking, I assume you'd want the insight of a seasoned explorer to assist you on your ventures. I suppose I might have been a bit brash with my declaration earlier, so if you don't want to be around, I could just,
Hey, relax.
The stranger spoke calmly. He then gently held their hands into his own as a means of keeping them from nervously fidgeting.
Honestly, I'm happy with just finding somebody who wants to be around me. I'm not exactly great at making friends myself.
Something about the stranger's presence soothed Dedusmuln. His cool way of speaking helped put the explorer's racing mind at ease, and the strong energy that emitted from his being that had originally intimidated them now gave off a kind feeling of warmness, as if they were being protected by a friendly cosmic entity. They could have sworn they felt an energy like that before not too long ago.
Truly? I would imagine a being like you would have no trouble gaining allies. What with your sort of gravitational pull?
Actually, I'm sort of the opposite. I tend to rotate around others, if you know what I mean. I wasn't really allowed to have much of a life until I came here, and now I want nothing more than to save this place from what it'll soon become. Oh, yeah, I should probably be straight with you. So my plan is to go kill Gibby and end his reign on this planet. You still down for that?
Are you serious?
A huge smile found its way onto Dedusmuln's hidden face.
I am so totally down for that. You have no idea how long I've wanted to give that tyrant a piece of my mind, or more accurately, a piece of my gestures.
Don't worry, you're not the only one who's got a bone to pick with Gibby. Hey, but if we find more of these cooler things, we could use their power to help us defeat him.
Ah, of course. We will take his dismissal of the value of old-world artifacts and use it against him. Oh, how we make such a perfect team. Dedusmuln and...
Wayne.
Right. Dedusmuln and Wayne, artifact seeker and collector of the most powerful of gestures. Does have a nice ring to it.
The two then spent a short while under the tent. They sat down on Dedusmuln's soft sleeping cot and talked idly about their previous journeys as Wayne shared some of his food with his new friend. Dedusmuln was practically trembling with delight as they chewed on one of the many delicious vegetables, savoring the juicy crispness of each bite. Wayne told them that he had picked each vegetable fresh from his own garden, and they made sure to act nonchalant as he remarked on the occasional theft his garden had endured in the last few weeks. Once the two had fully revitalized their flesh and will, the pair got up and began their journey down the mountain and into the computer Badlands, for Wayne had heard rumors of a portal there that would help lead him to his only other friend's house. As Dedusmuln made their way out of their tent, they found themselves stepping right into the soft, formless clay that had once been their recording device. The extended dryness of the microworm had caused the machine to fully collapse in on itself, thus destroying both it and the entries it once held. They couldn't care less about that old thing. Now they had a living being that they could share all of their thoughts and feelings with, somebody who actually wanted their help and company, and that was worth more than all the paper cups in the world.